What's up everyone? Today I'm going to be showing you how to add 3D models to your pictures. And as a little tutorial, I'm going to be using this image, and I'm adding a stand from Jojo's Bizarre Adventure behind him. It'll be a simple tutorial, a little easier than the other ones that I've done, and these techniques can be expanded to, bigger VFX projects or even other projects of similar nature. But yeah, let's get straight into it. So for a tutorial, I picked this little image over here, just took it quickly, just in fact right here. But yeah, this will be used as our image. We're gonna be putting a little ghost kind of guy, little stand behind him. So first, what we need to do is we need to separate me from the background. And that's going to be a little hard because my hair is kind of messy over here, and getting these lines is I don't think it's possible through like manual hand masking. So we're going to use a little trick that I learned. Alright, so to mask the image, we're going to be using GIMP. It's a free open source program, and you can download it from basically anywhere. But yeah, let's go ahead and drag in our image to here. Alright, we got our image here, as you can see. It'll be simple. There's nothing too complicated in this one. Alright, so first we need to, let's get our hair out of the way, because that's going to be the hardest part, most likely. So, I don't think it'll be possible to mask out the hair just by using a paintbrush. So, we're going to be using the background and the hair as like a separator, I guess you could say. So I got pretty lucky, and my head was perfectly in this very plain part of my wall back here. And we can definitely use that to just mask out the hair, because the hair is black and the background is blue. It shouldn't be pretty easy to get that out of the way. So first off, let's duplicate this layer, and we'll call this one mask. And this other one can be called color. Alright, now we just need to make another layer. We'll call this one test, and we can just unhide this little layer so we can see if there's any places left for us to mask. And change this to foreground color, and you can change this to whatever color. I'm gonna choose the bright green so it's easy to see. Alright, just press OK, and just put that underneath there. As you can see, it's just a really bright green layer. Alright, so let's unhide these again. Let's go to this mask layer, and we need to first convert this to grayscale, because masks don't really take color, or it's better to not put color. Go to colors, desaturate, and desaturate. That's pretty much it. Just press OK, and you'll see you have a perfectly grayscale image. Since this background is, a decently different color than the hair, it's pretty easy to separate these. So what we can do is go to colors again, go to levels. Let's drag this over here. And for now, don't care about any other part of the image, just for the hair. All you need to do is drag this a little farther maybe, pull this a little closer. We just need to make the separation between the hair and the background as bright as possible. But we don't want to lose on any of the little pieces of hair either. So just mess around with these values until you get something good. So we'll drag it until we get it as white as possible. Just bring this down. Yeah, that seems about right. I think I got most of the hair. Alright, as you can see, this is basically white and this is black. So we got this mask. All we need to do is Control-Shift-C to copy the pixels in the image. So Control-Shift-C. Or you could just go to Edit and copy visible. Next, what we gotta do, we can just hide this for now. Go here, and we need to create a mask. Just create a mask. You can do white full opacity. And now make sure you have this selected, and just Control-V. There we go. And now obviously the mask is inverted. So all we need to do is go to colors and invert. There we go. Look at that. See, this is why we have the green background, to see if there's any, anything else to go about unmasking and stuff. Alright. This thing, we don't want it to be floating. We want it to just be, in this image. So as you can see, the mask is on here now. Next, what we got to do is as you can see, there's still some little semblance of not hair, like the background in here. So we can, if you need to edit it more, you could just go back to layer colors, levels, but I think mine is fine, so you can just do that. And finally, there we go. Our hair is looking pretty nice and neat. And now all we gotta do is just paint back in our face. So make sure you have this mask selected, or the mask this mask, not the actual mask, right here. And we just need to go here, and you can just press this button to convert black and white, and go make sure it's white, change the size, and just color back in your person. Yeah, you just basically do that. If you can't see as well, bring this down below and open this up, and you can still see the outline of your face or your clothes or whatever, and make sure you're selected on the mask so you can still color it in. Yeah, so that's basically the method, and once you're done with this, you can get a pretty nice and clean result. I've already done this, so if I can just open the recent, right over here. There we go. I got a pretty clean mask with this. The hair is a little gone, but I think it's fine since the dude is going to be over here. So we got everything perfect and as good as possible. And as you can see, I made this red over here. It's basically a perfect mask. Now let's just export this. So we can go File, Export, and just call it alpha.png. Perfect. Alright, now we can just export that, wait for it to export, and we should be good with our person mask. So we can just close out of this for now. I don't need this. And we got our masked out person right over here. So the color doesn't really matter as much since we're just going to be using the alpha transparency channel as the mask for the actual person. Or, oh, I think I missed some here, but it's fine. For the actual 3D model. But yeah, that should be good enough. So, step 2 is we need a 3D model of something. And I've decided to add a stand from Jojo behind me. If any of you watch, this is going to be Golden Experience Requiem or Gold Wind Requiem, whatever. But yeah, I got the model over here. And if you want this model, and like a lot of other ones, found this cool website called the Models Resource. It has a lot of like game models from old retro style games. If you ever need any 3D models like this, you can go here to the modelspriterresource.com. I'll link it down in the description. But there's so many games here, so all I did was just search Jojo. And I went to the games section, and you have so many Jojo models here. I think I took it out of one of these. Right here? Yeah, this one. So, we got our model here. I just upscaled the textures a little bit and added a few different stuffs of my own. So the eyes over here, they're supposed to look like this, but I added a little emission. You can see that in cycles, but we also got this material here. So, as I showed, it kind of looks like this bronze or rose gold. I just added changed the value in the saturation to the highest possible, changed the gamma to make it a bit more yellow, and brought the levels back down a little bit. And yeah, we got this nice model here. Came with a normal texture, I upscaled that as well, but there we go. And I just used the Rigify add-on to, rig this, because it didn't come with its own rig. All you need to do is go to Edit Preferences, go to Add-ons, and just search Rigify. Right here, this one. Just enable that, and it'll give you the option to create armatures. So if you go to Rigify Meta Rigs, I just chose this human one. And if this looks different from here, you'll see. It looks like this. I just took out all these face bones. So all I did was select these and deselect these two and just delete that. So we have this nice little armature with the hands as well. And all you gotta do is go here and press generate rig. And it'll generate a nice looking rig for you, which has IK, FK, all the good stuff, Just parent that to here with automatic weights, and you can shift around the weights a little bit. For example, when I used the automatic weights the first time, this little ring over here was also being controlled by the arm. So all I did was went into the weight paint mode right here and found the upper arm and just set this all to 0. Oh, make sure if you're editing weights, especially for armatures, go to this brush settings and click auto normalize. So if you have two vertex groups and they have a little bit of an overlap, Blender will automatically normalize them for you to make sure that each vertex will only have a weight of 1, like in total. So it doesn't do anything weird like add some extra motion and whatnot. But yeah, we got our rig, we got our image. Now we just need to pose it and put it in the image. For that, we first need to find how the image was taken. So like at what angle, I guess you could say. This is a great, nice little program where you can just kind of add a little few lines to everything and it'll automatically calculate what angle that camera was at. So there's not much to go off of here because I don't have anything going on the y-axis, so we're gonna have to, I think, rely on just the x and the z. So let's just add some of these. So the x-axis going up this way. This would probably be much more accurate if I had shown where the y-axis was looking, but it's good enough for now. We don't need a fully accurate camera because the guy's gonna be floating anyways. This seems about right, I think. All we gotta do is save this, just call it track. And FSpy also has a Blender add-on where you can just import the camera data from, you know, any of your FSpy projects. So if we go here to FSpy and put in our track, the camera should be lined up as well as it can. Yeah, that seemed about the way that I was holding the thing at. It's kind of obnoxious angle, but it should be fine. All right, let's scale this up, I guess, to match my height. That's about how big my face is, right? Maybe a little smaller. So let's move him behind me, like somewhere about there. So what I like to do here, since we didn't make just an alpha map, but we also added color to our thing, we can do this really cool trick. So we go to background images, set this to opacity 1, and since you can change this to front or back, we can just add a new image. So let's grab our alpha image, and you're not going to see anything yet, but if you change this to front, turn this up, there we go. It looks like he's already in our scene. So this can give you a bit more of an accurate representation of how it might look. So I was planning on going for this kind of pose. So the face looking back, body turned this way, and face looking this way, arm on his hip. Let's start doing that, I guess. Alright, that was honestly quicker than I expected. That took like 2 minutes max. But yeah, I took some creative liberties. I added a little bit of a flare to the second arm. It's kind of, it kind of follows the general pose. So that's good enough. This looks pretty cool, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, so now we have the final thing. It's lighting. That's always the hardest part of any render, because you can have your model, your textures at like 8K resolution, 10 million polygons and whatnot, but if the lighting is bad and the shadows don't line up, it just doesn't look good. So I unfortunately don't have an HDRI of my room, and I don't have a 360 camera either, so I can't really, you know, take any HDRIs of anything. So we're just gonna have to match the lighting as good as possible. Everything is white. It might not line up with the colors as accurate as possible, but I think it should be okay. First off, let's create some of the geometry of the room so we can have some of that bounce lighting. At least some of those shadows as realistic as possible. It doesn't have to be that accurate, it just needs to be a shadow catcher. In fact, we can just label it as a shadow catcher right here. And we go to viewport display, visibility, just press shadow catcher. And in cycles, it'll disable itself, but if you add a light, or if we can just rotate this plane, change this to world, and just press Ctrl T on here. There we go, we can rotate this around. Anyways, the lighting is coming from this direction. Oh, not this way. Yeah, somewhat like that. So if the lighting is coming from here, this is way too bright. If we had something that was close to white over here, we can change that with this, or compare that with this. This is still way too bright. You can just tell like immediately as well. The highlights are a bit too bright, I think. And the environment isn't going down enough. So instead, I'm just going to remove this just for like a base light. Give this the same color as this. Just pull that down there. And instead, I'm just going to use a softbox to light up the whole scene, because that's what every CG artist does, since there's a big window like this in front of my room. And there's also a few lights coming in through here. So we just bring that up. Yeah, I think that seems a bit more accurate. If I had some kind of like steel ball or something, that would have worked so much nicer. Yeah, so just play around with lighting until you can find something that works for your scene. And I will be coming back to you in a little bit. Alright, I think I got it to a place where it looks good in the scene. It's just that I think the lighting is good, more than enough. It's just the indirect on my face is throwing me off quite a bit. So, I think we just need to move on to the next step, which is just compositing. Alright. Oh, by the way, I'm using Blender 5.0 in this one, and it's actually pretty nice. It's got so many new functions, and I really love this HDR mode because it just makes everything look so much brighter. And I think that's why it's throwing me off a little bit, because I've never seen Blender, like, the cycles render this bright before, because I haven't been using HDR on this display since, you know, Blender didn't natively support it yet. But yeah, this is pretty nice. Okay, that aside, let's render this out once, and let's go into the compositor. Alright, we've done our render of this, and you know what's throwing me off, what I realize? It's probably because, you know, this is just like a hyper anime style 3D model, and then it's just like right next to my real face. It's just a little weird. So maybe that's one of the reasons, but you know, who knows? Let's start compositing first. So I also checked the shadow catcher, so we can use that separately. Let's actually add that first in, so multiply. Alright, just a little editor's note here. This compositing took me almost half an hour to complete, and I've been talking for like the whole half an hour of that, so instead I'm just gonna summarize it for you. So first we start by putting our alpha image into an invert color node, because the alpha output is inverted for images. Then we put into a set alpha with the image going into it. This just makes it so that the foreground where we are standing is gone, and we can just composite the whole thing over. Then after that we set the alpha to 0.9 because we don't want it to be a full object, we want it to be more of a ghost. Then next we put one of the new Blender 5.0 compositing nodes, the sensor noise and the chromatic aberration, to make it look more realistic, I guess. Then we dropped the exposure because it was looking a bit too bright. Then we also lower the gamma a little bit because that just looked right. Now after this we put the image of ourselves and put it on the background of the alpha over node, which is actually really nice because before it had just A and B, now it says background and foreground in Blender 5.0. Next after that I did some more exposure and gamma adjusting, and this multiply node comes from the shadow catcher, so the shadow will, you know, darken wherever the area the shadow is supposed to be. Then we add just a little vignette and we just tune the image a little bit, and that's basically it for compositing. And let's save the image then. I don't think there's much less to do. Oh, if you want to save the image without having to re-render it, you can just click viewer, go to node, and you can save the viewer image. And it should save at the highest quality as well. So we'll call this final. It's that easy. Why did it save like this? What? Looks so much better here. Oh, is it because it's not an HDR image?
6.5 hours later.
Alright, I kind of gave up and I just changed it to sRGB, and I changed a few settings and re-rendered it. So this is what the final product looks like. I think it's a little, it came out a little less contrasty, so I'm just going to boost that a little bit here. Yeah, that works most well for pretty much anything else. And I don't think YouTube does HDR either. I don't know, maybe it does. So you won't even be able to see it anyways. But here's the final product basically. And yeah, this is a pretty simple tutorial, a simple video. If you guys do this, it shouldn't take more than like half an hour. Maybe the lighting and everything would be a little hard to do, but honestly an hour maybe. So you know, you could try this out with anything. I mean, I did with Jojo because can't wait for the new steel ball run to come out. I've been thinking about that. And this pose also isn't exactly, I don't think I mentioned, it's not exactly as a reference, but I mean, it's more than good enough for what we're doing here. And you know, it may look a little weird, but there's a lot weirder Jojo poses out there. I think the lighting could be done a little better, especially if I had an HDR of my room, and especially at that, you know, specific moment, because I can't take it now because, you know, it's kind of dark outside, and I took this while it was at least decently a little brighter. Yeah, if you guys like this video. Oh, and about that little teaser that I made in the shorts, if you guys remember that, that's coming out. I'm not giving up on that yet. Just a few more bugs to iron out, and hopefully I'll get that out by next week. But if not, I'll make another small video next week, and then it'll come out after that. But it's gonna come out. You just gotta, Just gotta trust, I guess. But yeah. So if you guys enjoyed this tutorial, leave a like. Make sure to subscribe if you want to keep seeing more from me. And yeah, if you guys have a good day. And if you guys have any tips on how to use the HDR on Blender, I'm gonna look into it myself after this. But if you guys have any tips, make sure to leave those down in the comments below. And if you guys have any other tips on lighting as well, because I could not get that right as well as I wanted it to. But yeah, drop those down in the comments below, and I guess I'll see you later. Goodbye.